If you're one of those fans dying to see Starship go full white, you might enjoy this. Recently, SpaceX was spotted installing a brand new type of white heat shield tile on a Starship nose cone inside Starfactory. It didn't take long before speculation started spreading. What exactly are these white heat shield tiles? Could this be designed for the Starship HLS version? So, let's find out in today's episode of Alpha Tech. The heat shield system on any spacecraft plays an absolutely critical role. You could even think of it as a guardian that protects the lives of astronauts. Without a heat shield, a spacecraft returning to Earth after completing its mission would simply burn up in the atmosphere, almost like the meteors we occasionally see streaking across the night sky. The reason is simple. During re-entry, the vehicle slams into the atmosphere at speeds of tens of thousands of kilometers per hour, creating temperatures that can reach several thousand degrees Celsius due to extreme aerodynamic heating. Even for uncrewed spacecraft, the heat shield is just as important. It allows the vehicle to survive re-entry and be reused multiple times instead of flying only once. That capability dramatically reduces mission costs, which is why heat shields have gradually become an essential element across the entire aerospace industry. And SpaceX's Starship is no exception. The vehicle is protected by a ceramic-based heat shield covered with 18,000 black tiles. These tiles typically use a borosilicate glass coating with black pigment similar in concept to the reaction-cured glass, or RCG, used on the space shuttle. The dark surface provides high emissivity, allowing the vehicle to radiate heat away efficiently after it has been engulfed in plasma during the most intense phase of atmospheric re-entry. SpaceX has been maintaining and steadily improving this black ceramic tile system for about 3 years now. But recently, something interesting has started to change. A camera operated by the photographer Starship Gazer, positioned near Starbase, captured images showing that SpaceX had installed a set of white heat shield tiles, a completely new type of thermal protection tile on the nose cone of Starship Ship 45 inside Starfactory. What makes this even more intriguing is the way they were installed. The tiles were already placed onto the mounting pins, but they appeared to be only temporarily secured with black tape. And instead of replacing the black tiles entirely, these white tiles were installed right alongside them. That suggests Ship 45, which is expected to fly on Flight 16, could be the vehicle where we finally see a real flight test of this new white heat shield system. But here's something that might seem a little strange. Based on both physics and decades of past experience, black heat shield tiles are usually superior in regions exposed to extreme heat. During atmospheric re-entry, the surface temperature of the tiles can surge to 1,200 to 1,650 degrees Celsius, sometimes even higher, mainly due to the intense plasma generated by compressed air in front of the vehicle. At those temperatures, the dominant cooling mechanism is not conduction or convection. It is thermal radiation. According to the Stefan-Boltzmann law, the power radiated away scales with emissivity multiplied by temperature to the fourth power, and black tiles typically have 2 to 3 times higher emissivity than white tiles. White tiles are different because they are designed with higher reflectivity, allowing them to reflect more sunlight and absorb less solar heat while the spacecraft is in orbit. But if you place white tiles in the hottest parts of the vehicle, they can retain heat longer. The surface temperature could climb higher and potentially exceed the material limits. History has already shown what can happen when thermal protection fails. The Space Shuttle Columbia disaster is a stark reminder. That is also why the Space Shuttle used black tiles on the nose and belly, the areas exposed to the most intense heating during re-entry, while white thermal protection was placed on the upper surfaces where the heat loads were much lower. So, could SpaceX eventually install white tiles on the dorsal side of Starship, the upper surface of the vehicle? It's not impossible. But right now, another theory is gaining traction. Many observers believe these white tiles may actually be designed for Starship HLS, the lunar landing version of Starship. This view might ruffle some feathers because HLS is purely an ascent vehicle. It launches from the moon and never comes back to Earth. So why would it need a heat shield at all? And honestly, that's not wrong. Let me break it down for you. Reliable sources, including SpaceX's own updates, put it plainly. Unlike the standard Starship spacecraft, both the Starship HLS and the depot variants never re-enter Earth's atmosphere. That means we can completely strip away the heavy atmospheric heat shield the black tiles, and the aerodynamic control surfaces like flaps. Huge mass savings right there. But hold on, these are still massive vehicles wrapped in a thin stainless steel skin, not exactly paper thin, but definitely not armored like a tank. Now check out SpaceX's official HLS update on their website. They just hit a major milestone: micrometeoroid and orbital debris testing of shielding insulation, and window panels analyzing different material stack-ups that will be used to protect Starship from impact hazards and harsh thermal conditions. See what that means? The white heat shield tiles we've been spotting, like the ones they're quietly installing on Ship 45's nosecone, are part of exactly those tests for HLS. They're running real-world experiments right now on prototypes. For HLS and depot ships, black re-entry tiles aren't needed, but white heat shield or reflective insulation and coatings are absolutely critical. They protect against micrometeoroids and small debris impacts during long missions in space. And for HLS, in particular, it's even more vital because the vehicle has to land and stay on the lunar surface for extended periods, baking under intense direct sunlight with wild temperature swings daytime highs, over plus 120 degrees Celsius, plunging to minus 223 degrees Celsius at night. Physically, here's how the white layer works so effectively. First, it has super low solar absorptance, usually under 0.1 to 0.2, and sky-high reflectivity, over 90 to 98% in visible and near-infrared light. That means the white surface bounces back almost all incoming solar energy, about 1,367 watts per square meter, plus reflected light from the lunar regolith, which has a high albedo. Heat barely gets absorbed into the ship, totally different from a dark surface or bare steel that soaks it up. Think of it like this: put a black shirt and a white shirt out in the sun. The white one stays cooler and takes forever to heat up because it reflects sunlight instead of absorbing it. Same principle here. The result? Surface temperatures stay way lower, slashing boil-off of cryogenic propellants that would otherwise evaporate from heat. That's a massive win for long-duration storage or waiting to ascend back to orbit. Second, these white materials usually have high emissivity, over 0.8 to 0.9 in the thermal infrared range. So any excess heat the ship does pick up gets radiated right back out into space, following the Stefan-Boltzmann law, achieving passive thermal balance without fancy active cooling systems. Layer that with multi-layer insulation or tougher ceramic composites, and you've got solid protection against hypervelocity micrometeoroid impacts, spreading out the energy and cutting thermal stress. Bottom line, for Starship HLS, white heat shield isn't optional. It's essential to survive the moon's brutal environment, keep propellant stable, and make the whole Artemis mission reliable. Exciting stuff happening right now. Now let's talk about the material itself. At first glance, these white tiles don't look much different from the traditional black ones. So are they made from the same material? Pretty much, yeah. SpaceX keeps the core the same, a porous silica ceramic base, just like the black tiles. That's what gives them the low-density killer insulation and shock resistance we need. The real magic happens in the coating. For black tiles, it's a dark pigment blend that cranks up emissivity for screaming hot re-entry. For white ones, they swap in silica compounds mixed with aluminum oxide or other bright white additives to flip the properties high, reflectivity for bouncing solar heat away, perfect for long orbital coasts or lunar ops. How do they pull this off without starting from scratch? Simple, they're building on proven shuttle-era tech. The manufacturing process is basically the same mix: silica fibers into a slurry mold. The hexagons dry them, then fire at insane temps to sinter everything without melting. After that, it's just a coating tweak. Change the pigment in the glass, slurry black for max heat radiation. During re-entry, white for max solar reflection in space. They might throw in a bit extra alumina borosilicate or a thicker outer layer on the white versions to beef up MMOD resistance, since those are headed for longer missions with more debris risk. It's cheap scales like crazy and lets them test fast. And remember those early Starship explosions where tiles flew off and drifted everywhere? Yeah, pieces washed up on beaches near Boca Chica, even as far as Mexico. People scooped them up and turned them into collectibles, selling intact ones or fragments on the internet for anywhere from a few dozen bucks to thousands. One went for over $3,000, another hit $7,500. Wild, right? Turning rocket failures into a side hustle. Talk about smart entrepreneurship. Alright, moving on to some fresh news. And oh boy, the drama between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos is heating up again. This is peak rivalry stuff. Elon with SpaceX and Starlink versus Jeff with Amazon. Specifically their satellite project, Amazon LEO, better known as Project Kuiper. Let me break the story down, step by step. It started in late January 2026 when SpaceX filed with the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, asking approval for a massive constellation of up to 1 million satellites. This isn't just another Starlink upgrade. The idea is to build orbital data centers, huge computing systems operating in space and powered by solar energy, perfect for AI workloads. And in a world dealing with wars or chaos, all you need is power, and you still have the internet. No vulnerable ground cables. That's why many people say Elon's influence is reaching deeper into US strategy and politics. Amazon wasn't about to let that slide. Last Friday, around March 6th or 7th, 2026, Amazon LEO submitted a 17-page petition to the FCC, basically asking the commission to reject SpaceX's application outright. Their arguments focus on 3 points. First, the plan looks too speculative. SpaceX's filing is missing key technical details such as orbital parameters, RF, frequencies, space safety measures, and debris mitigation. The FCC has rejected incomplete proposals like this before. Second, the timeline looks impossible. Using the record launch year 2025, only about 4,526 satellites reached orbit globally. At that pace, launching 1 million satellites would take centuries even if SpaceX used every rocket available. Third, approving this could allow SpaceX to lock up orbital slots and resources, making it harder for other constellations, including Project Kuiper, to expand. In short, this is classic big player competition. Bezos and Amazon are using the FCC process to slow down or block SpaceX's mega constellation plans, while Musk keeps pushing Starship to make launching thousands of satellites cheaper and faster than ever. Wild times in the space race. So, what do you think, Musk playing big or Amazon playing defense?